Hello, my name is Veronica, and I will be introducing you today to the Falkensteiner Schlosshotel Velden in Austria. It's a historic property dating back to the 1500s in the most southern part of Austria, right at the border to Italy and to Slovenia. The castle belonged to a family called Kevenhüller, who had the monopoly of all the castles in the region Carinthia, where we're located in. And fun fact, Velden, which is the location of the property, in ancient Germanic means hunting. In fact, this was the hunting ground of Emperor Joseph II of Austria once upon a time. So you can imagine the counts and the aristocracy of Vienna walking around on the grounds of the property, maybe talking about all the gossip of what is happening in Vienna at the time. In fact, the property, probably from the color yellow, reminds you of a very famous castle in Vienna, the Schönbrunn Castle. So we are located right at the border to Italy and to Slovenia. So it's really just 25 minutes to Lake Bled in case you're interested in Slovenia. And in fact, our experienced concierge will be more than happy to organize a half day or a day trip to Slovenia to really explore everything, maybe have a meal there. So it's really one of the things I suggest doing when you're staying with us. As you can see on the map, we are right in between Venice and Vienna. So if you are taking either the train or even self-driving, we're a stop out of the on the highway. So you just exit the highway to Velden am Wörthersee and you're at our property, or it's even a train stop of the direct train that takes you from Venice to Vienna. The same for Venice, Salzburg, and Munich. So it's really a great stop in between if you're doing sightseeing and you really want to have a beachside break in the summer months. Why I say beachside, I will tell you in a few seconds. So here you can see an aerial view of the property and you can see our lake. Our lake has 82 degrees Fahrenheit in summertime. So it's a true bathing lake, although we're surrounded by the Alps, but we benefit of this microclimate. The water has this turquoise color. It is not photoshopped. It really gives you a seaside feeling. And then we look at our property. The property itself is made out of a contemporary part and the historic building. So our guests can choose to either sleep historically or contemporary. If you look at the property, you think it's 400 rooms. It's just 105 finely appointed rooms you can choose from. The properties also rooms face either to the inner courtyard or to the lakeside or to the castle park. There are no rooms facing the town of Velden. Now, Velden itself is known in the German speaking countries as the Hamptons of Austria. So it's really a posh place to be. There are very many beautiful restaurants, cafes, nice boutiques to shop from. And for who is interested, also in walking distance, a casino. And it's one of these casinos where you still get dressed nicely to go. It's also the only one in Europe where you can play outdoors on the terrace overlooking the lake. Then back to our property. On the lakeside, we have a beach club only for hotel guests with our pool, a restaurant, and a bar. And then we have a champagne lounge, a restaurant called Seespitz, which is a bistro elevated cuisine style restaurant. It really gives you a bit of this French Riviera feel. And another lounge, which also has live music in the summer months, so you can really enjoy the outdoors. These restaurants are also open to the public and are sort of the place to be for our external guests. From there, we also look at our marina where we have our own boats for the guests to use. We have what we call cruise experiences, which can be a cocktail cruise or a romantic cruise, but it's also a taxi service. So you can take the boat to the restaurant you want. On the lake, of course, we have a lot of al fresco dining options. We take you to the restaurant, you have your glass of champagne on the way, and then we pick you up again. Moving to the historic building, we have sort of the historic or the classic style in comparison to the lakeside, which is more modern. So it's sort of throughout the property, you always have this theme, historic and contemporary. In the historic building, we have a very classic cigar lounge, a piano bar, as well as a gourmet restaurant, but very classic. So with parquet floors, tapestry, Murano chandeliers you can enjoy to have. And in the piano bar, also in the summer months, we have an outdoor space. For the Christmas time, we also have a little Christmas lounge for the guests. Talking about Christmas, we are quite famous for our Christmas market, and so it's also a really beautiful time to come to visit Velden. Moving on, as another activity we can offer on property is, of course, our spa. It's called Aquapura Spa, and Aquapura Spa is the signature spa of Falkensteiner. So each Falkensteiner property has the Aquapura Spa. This one, Aquapura means pure water, so it's really themed around water, the flow of water, the energy that water gives you. And so we have really a holistic approach in our treatments also. Of course, we also have, if you want a Swedish massage, we also have that. But we really want you to book some time with us, and then we can have a conversation. How are you doing? Do you have pains? Are you stressed from something? And really can create a treatment for you based on that. The spa is of 3,600 square meters, so quite large spa. We have a pool inside and outside. It's of course a heated pool, so you can also enjoy in the winter months. And of course, if the beach club gets a bit too busy for you in summer, which can happen, there's live music, there's more going on, then you always have the area of the spa, which is, if you want to read a book, you want to have a nap and just enjoy the peace and quiet. Apart from that, in the spa, of course, there is a sauna, there are different steam rooms, etc., to choose from. And now I will show you a bit of the rooms. This is just a general idea of what we have on property. As I mentioned, we have the historic style rooms and the contemporary rooms. Above here, you have an idea of what the historic rooms look like, as in style, as in color, as in furniture. They are all really more or less the same. This one, of course, is a duplex suite. In fact, in the property, we have half of the rooms historic, half of the rooms contemporary, and half of our rooms are actually suites. We have two 3-bedroom suites, so we can really also accommodate a family traveling together. In fact, we have a lot of multi-generational travelers staying with us. Then here in the middle, you can see a typical contemporary room. The contemporary room, as you can see, is not now a punch in the eye in the difference to the historic room, but of course it has a different color scheme and it has a different style. However, all rooms in the contemporary part are identical. They really just change in square footage. Depending on the category of the rooms. All rooms have a fireplace. All rooms have floor to ceiling windows, the whole length of the room, as well as a terrace, which you can also see here in the picture. And you always have a great view wherever you are on property. If it's looking onto the inner courtyard, you have these really aesthetic views of, for example, the castle. Also, the bathrooms, as you can see, always you have some special kind of view. Then we have the largest suite with 300 square meters. It's the Infinity Suite. It's built out of the contemporary part, so you have a prime view with a huge terrace overlooking the lake, a living room, a dining room, and an office. As for this suite, usually families book them where usually one person in the whole time that it's booked, it's usually a long stay, also has to work. So we also have this space. There are 2 bedrooms, one master bedroom and one twin bedroom. However, if you want, we can add other bedrooms to the suite and close it off. So it really becomes a private suite. And here, just a few images. First of all, to show you the great views we have and how large our lake is. And you can really see the mountains around us. So even if you just step out of the property, we have nature paths cycling paths all around us, just really walking out of the hotel. So you also have this nature element you can enjoy, apart from, of course, swimming, and of course, visiting the bordering countries. And the style of the different F&B outlets, just to give you a bit of the feel of what they look like. And then last but not least, of course, our spa and our beach club. Here you also see one of our boats. So really just to get an idea of the activities that you can do when you're staying with us. Thank you.